House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says House Democrats will try to advance a war powers resolution that's aimed at limiting President Trump's power over military operations in Iran as early as today. Now, Jeffries says lawmakers will seek to pass this resolution by unanimous consent during a House pro forma session. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer also says the upper chamber will vote on its own war powers resolution next week. So let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns. Okay, so, my question here is the president just announced a 2-week ceasefire. Why are Democrats pushing this right now?
Yeah, it's a good question, Kelly. And basically, the Democrats are saying, look, this resolution that they've reached this 2-week ceasefire is very fragile. And also, just a few days ago, the president was talking about wiping out an entire civilization. So in the Democrats' view, how can they not introduce something to limit the president's power here? Take a listen to how Chuck Schumer described it yesterday.
A commander-in-chief who is truly in control would never have gotten into this colossal mess to begin with. A 2-week ceasefire, especially one as fragile as this, is not a strategy. It's not a diplomatic solution. It's not a plan. Trump needs to stop posting on the social media and start doing the hard work of building a lasting peace.
All right, so let me give you a reality check of how this is going to go. In the House today, you may remember Congress is on recess, so they're going to try to force this through today through a tool called unanimous consent, and it only takes one person to object to it. Republicans will likely object. It will likely fail. The Senate's going to try to do this next week, and it's pretty uncertain that they will have the votes, pretty unlikely. But guys, it really poses an interesting question to Republicans who we know have been looking at polling showing that Republicans are in trouble heading into the midterm election. People are really concerned about their gas prices in addition to the price increases on everything else that they've seen. And they're wondering why we are doing this in the first place and what we're getting out of it. Republicans have been very eager for this to wrap up so that they can go on to other things, talking about the economy and touting their perceived accomplishments. It's difficult to do that with Iran hovering over everything. So you would imagine that there would be some Republican support for reining in the president when it comes to Iran. But I don't think we're likely to see that because at the outset of this, Republicans were concerned about hampering the president's power. Here, Democrats are going to try to force them on record at a delicate time.
All right, so let's talk about what happened back on April 1st. Caitlin, as you know, the House and the Senate, Republicans, they said they had a deal to fund DHS. Where does that currently stand?
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this, guys, because this has been the longest DHS shutdown in the history of the agency. Congress has been on recess for the past 2 weeks. They're not coming back until next week while this is going on. Now, the pressure points that had been facing Congress have been relieved a little bit. Remember the TSA workers and the long lines at the airports. TSA workers have been funded. But guys, FEMA, Coast Guard, other national security agencies within DHS have not been funded, and they've been working without a paycheck. This is just incredible and you would think unsustainable, yet there has been no movement. So next week, lawmakers are going to come back and they are likely going to take up a basic measure that would fund most of the department except for ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. And that would be taken care of in a separate package later on. But guys, I think it's just remarkable here that this has been allowed to go on as long as it has without any sort of movement. So they're going to take this up next week, but there could also be a lot of intra-party fighting on the Republican side about how to go forward with this.
Yeah, Caitlin, I completely agree. I'm surprised as well, but it does feel like versus last time around, there's a lot of different things that people are focusing on, the war, this as well. So we will see where it goes. So appreciate your time today.